Tonight, concern from doctors across Canada as cases of whooping cough spike.
It's really children, young children, infants, especially those in the first 6 months of life that are at highest risk.
Why the numbers have jumped, what parents need to know. A seismic shift in BC politics. With a provincial election just around the corner, the former governing party suspends its campaign.
Along with an NDP government that has taken a few steps to the left. So it is a much starker choice for voters.
The Paralympic Games takes its turn in the global athletic spotlight.
This is our moment to show Canadians in the world what we have.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hennemensing.
We begin tonight with concerning health news across large areas of the country. A surge in cases of whooping cough. The highly contagious infection can have life-altering or even deadly consequences. National case numbers each year typically don't exceed 4,500, but so far this year, the number in Quebec alone is more than double that. The disease starts out with cold-like symptoms, but can quickly become a serious cough, leaving patients gasping for air. And the youngest are especially vulnerable. Lauren Pelly takes us through what you need to know about the outbreaks and why they're happening now.
It's something no parent wants to hear, the telltale sound of whooping cough.
There's a characteristic cough that's really quite intense that can be followed by a whoop or a bit of a barking cough.
Caused by a bacteria called Bordetella pertussis. This highly contagious infection can also lead to pneumonia or even brain damage.
It's really children, young children, infants, especially those in the first 6 months of life that are at highest risk of any sort of complication requiring either hospitalization or even death.
And these potentially deadly infections are surging right now in parts of Canada. The most dramatic spike is in Quebec, more than 11,000 cases so far this year, up from a pre-pandemic average of less than 600. Ontario has seen close to 500 cases this year, nearly 5 times its annual average, while New Brunswick is also reporting one of its biggest outbreaks in years with more than 140 infections to date.
It could have been anywhere that she could have gotten it from.
Whooping cough also surged over the last year across Europe and in the U.S. This New Jersey mom was terrified when her 10-year-old daughter recently caught it.
She coughed, I want to say, from 4 a.m. until 8 a.m.
So what's behind the sudden spike? Pertussis outbreaks ebb and flow over a 3 to 5 year cycle, so part of the reason may just come down to timing. But experts say the COVID-19 pandemic also played a key role.
It's not surprising to me to see increases in pertussis post-pandemic when we know that there was major disruption of routine childhood vaccination.
So, Lauren, aside from the routine shots in childhood, are there other times when people can or should be getting this vaccine?
Absolutely. You can get a booster dose as an adult, and that's particularly important during pregnancy because doctors say then you're passing that immunity on to your baby. So this seems to be really important right now because what we're hearing from Quebec is a lot of the infants who are being hospitalized or even in ICUs are the ones who don't have that crucial protection. Ian?
Lauren Pelly reporting from Toronto. In Manitoba, a step towards healing for families of the victims of serial killer Jeremy Skibitsky. Today, they faced him in court with emotional victim impact statements before he was sentenced to life in prison. Cam McIntosh was there.
The sentence itself was never in question. This hearing an opportunity for family of 4 murdered women to make victim impact statements and confront a serial killer. Donna Bartlett, grandmother of Mercedes Myron, repeated outside court what she said to him inside.
He's an evil monster. He has hurt this family, tore it apart, ripped our souls to pieces. Like, that's going to be there forever.
Jeremy Skibitsky will serve 4 concurrent life sentences for killing Morgan Harris, Mercedes Myron, Rebecca Contois, and a 4th woman known as Buffalo Woman.
I killed 4 people.
He admitted the killings were motivated by race, fetish, and hate. He dismembered the bodies and threw them in the garbage. The remains of 2 of the women are believed to be in this landfill. Families of Contois and Harris didn't speak outside, But in court, Cambria Harris, daughter of Morgan Harris, faced Skibitsky and called him a vile monster. No God, religion, or afterlife will save him, she said, adding it was tragic he's being protected by security. My mother's remains are in a landfill. Jordan Myron, sister of Mercedes Myron, couldn't get through her statement inside.
This will never be enough for me. What he did to those women, he deserves a lot more than what was put on him today.
The community experiences deep-seated trauma, fear, and insecurity because of these murders.
Indigenous women's advocate Sandra Delaronde read her statement for CBC News outside of court, speaking to the impact on the broader community, while Manitoba's Grand Chief spoke of the dangers facing Indigenous women.
No longer can this violence persist.
A life sentence without parole eligibility for 25 years is the strictest sentence under Canadian law. In this case, the Crown said it feels inadequate and implored that parole never be granted. Through it all, Skibitsky said nothing. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
If you need help, the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Crisis Line is available 24 hours a day. The number is 1-844-413-6649. We're learning more tonight about the father and son accused of plotting a terror attack in Toronto, including how and when they came to Canada. Olivia Stefanovic now with what was revealed in Ottawa today. And a warning, the story includes some graphic details.
Good morning, Minister. A grilling for the public safety minister as new information emerges about the father and son charged in an alleged terror plot.
It was only in June of this year that CSIS became aware.
1 month later, Ahmed El-Didi and his son Mustafa El-Didi were arrested. They face 9 terror-related offenses related to an alleged plan on behalf of ISIS to commit a violent attack in Toronto.
This is the way that the investigative and national security system should work.
But opposition MPs see it differently.
Are you really telling Canadians that that's how our system should work? He's been here for 6 years.
All of the appropriate steps were put in place by CSIS and the RCMP.
New documents indicate that immigration and security officials vetted the father's case multiple times after his arrival in 2018. He was granted Canadian citizenship in May of this year. This despite a 2015 graphic video allegedly depicting him dismembering someone outside of Canada, also on behalf of the Islamic State. As for the son, the documents show Canadian officials denied him a student visa in 2019. But in 2020, he entered Canada and made a refugee claim. It was granted in 2022.
So, yes, from time to time, people do slip in.
This immigration lawyer says screening procedures must be tightened.
I don't think this is a failure on the part of immigration. I think this is a failure on the part of CSIS, because they're the government organization that is tasked with doing these security checks.
Olivia, where does the parliamentary investigation go from here?
Well, up next, we are expected to hear from Immigration Minister Mark Miller, who is looking into revoking the father's citizenship. The Liberals reversed a move by the previous Conservative government that stripped dual citizens of their Canadian status if they're convicted of terrorism. Meanwhile, the El-Didis made court appearances on Wednesday, just as the committee began its investigation.
Olivia Stefanovic in Ottawa. In the U.S., new details tonight about last month's attempted assassination of Donald Trump. The FBI says that in the 30 days before the July shooting, the gunman, Thomas Crooks, did more than 60 online searches into large gatherings for Trump and U.S. President Joe Biden. Investigators say he became focused on Trump's outdoor rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. They released photos of the weapons Crooks used, but have not identified a motive. A surprising turn in the investigation into a string of arsons in rural Saskatchewan. A firefighter has been arrested. The 25-year-old faces multiple counts after more than 15 reports of hay bale and grass fires over the last month. Just this week, his fire department offered a reward of $26,000 to help make an arrest. There has been a massive shift in the BC political landscape tonight, just 2 months before a provincial election. BC United, formerly the BC Liberals, is suspending its campaign, encouraging voters to support the BC Conservative Party. Lindsay Duncombe now on a bid to unite the right.
As political shakeups go, this is an earthquake.
This is hard. It's really hard.
The leader of BC's official opposition bowed out of the race just 2 months before the provincial election, folding his party into the surging BC Conservatives, making this man, John Rustad, a contender for premier.
When I travel around the province, people are saying enough is enough.
Until very recently, the Conservatives were a fringe party, just 2% in the polls in the last election. No more. Polls now show Rustad has a chance of beating NDP Premier David Eby.
This feels like one of those sort of once in a generation, once every other generation moments where we get a profound shift in the party system.
This pretty much means the end of BC United, formerly the BC Liberals. The party of Gordon Campbell and Christy Clark ruled with a centre-right coalition for 16 years, but the rebrand last year failed. And the Conservative message resonated, speaking out against the NDP's drug decriminalization policy and the soaring cost of living. The same message delivered by the popular federal leader of a party with the same name.
The Conservatives federally at this moment are lightning in a bottle. And they were able to take some of that electricity, but also some of that brand recognizability and transfer it to a party, let's all remember, that got 2% of the vote in the 2020 election.
Rustad is a former BC Liberal himself, kicked out of the party for his views on climate change. The BC Conservatives have ousted nominees for their views on COVID vaccination and the LGBTQ community.
So we're looking at a party that is more conservative than what we have seen in the province in some time, along with an NDP government that has taken a few steps to the left. So it is a much starker choice for voters.
So, Lindsay, we're about 7 weeks away from the election. What does all of this mean for the candidates running against the NDP?
Well, that's a big question, Ian. The leaders said today that they would work together to figure out the team that had the best chance to beat the NDP, which means that there's a chance some candidates from either party who thought they would be running may not be running anymore. And there's also a chance that some BC United members or candidates don't like this at all, and they may choose to run as independents. So there is lots of drama to come.
Sure is. Lindsay Duncombe in our Vancouver newsroom tonight. French authorities have laid criminal charges against the CEO of the Telegram messaging platform, Pavel Durov. He's accused of being complicit with criminal activity on Telegram. Durov has now been released on bail. Telegram has about 1 billion users worldwide. French authorities are investigating allegations it's used to facilitate a wide variety of crimes, including drug trafficking, fraud, and money laundering.
Pokrovsk та інші напрямки на Донеччині.
Tonight, the Ukrainian president acknowledged the situation in the Donetsk region is extremely difficult, especially in Pokrovsk, a strategic transportation hub. Russia is making rapid gains in that area of eastern Ukraine, with villages in the line of fire evacuated. But Kyiv has struck on Russian territory yet again, sparking a fire at this fuel depot. It's at least the third drone strike on targets in Russia's Rostov region so far this month. An Israeli military operation has killed at least 10 people in the West Bank, the largest assault on the occupied territory in years. And as Chris Brown explains, it's raising fears that the tactics of destruction and displacement seen in Gaza are expanding.
This was far more than a military raid. It may have been Israel's largest assault on the occupied West Bank in more than 20 years, involving airstrikes, troops, and bulldozers moving through Palestinian cities and towns, ripping up roads. In Tubas, Masoud Najah said an explosion killed 2 of his children. My wife went to the roof and found 3 of our children, 2. May they rest in peace. In Jenin, Palestinians say Israel's military blocked ambulance crews from helping the wounded. The IDF said it prevented access to the hospital to stop militants from going inside. Staff were forced to get out of the ambulance, said Dr. Yunus Al-Khatib of the Red Crescent, and the director of our health center in Tubas was beaten. Communities such as Jenin have become centers of resistance against Israel's occupation, spawning members for Islamic Jihad and Hamas, both of which acknowledged losing fighters in the assault.
There will be no safe place, no places of sanctuary, and no places where terrorists can feel safe, where they feel they're in control.
Many Palestinians fear Israel's military is importing tactics from Gaza to the West Bank. After the raids, Israel's foreign minister tweeted that the temporary evacuation of Palestinians in the West Bank might be necessary.
There is not much.
This analyst says some cabinet ministers have made no secret of their wish to expand Israel's control over Palestinian territories.
If things continue on their current trajectories, then we're going to see more and bigger operations. We're going to probably also see more armed resistance by Palestinian groups.
Tensions in the West Bank were already critical, fueled by frequent attacks by extremist Jewish settlers on Palestinian communities. The Palestinian Authority warned if Israel continues along this path, the results will be dire for the entire region. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
The Liberal Party's Middle East policy may be complicating its crucial by-election battle coming next month in Montreal. CBC News has learned that a group of Liberal staffers is refusing to help the campaign because of the government's stance on Gaza. Evan Dyer looks at the internal pressure tactic.
It is so great to be back in Halifax.
As Prime Minister Justin Trudeau rallied Liberal caucus members and donors this week, he faced protests outside his events and also dissent within his own party over the war in Gaza. In a leaked letter addressed to Justin Trudeau, a group of Arab and Muslim staffers write that they want to see changes, including a halt to all arms sales to Israel, whether direct or through third countries, and recognition of the state of Palestine. Until we're no longer ashamed to tell our communities and families that we are actively campaigning for the Liberal Party, we will be pausing partisan activity. That includes refusing to volunteer for the Liberals in the campaign for the by-election in La Salle et Mard-Verdun, a seat long held by the Liberals, but now the scene of a tight race where the Liberal candidate is threatened by the New Democrats, a party that's been much more critical of Israel's Gaza war. Trudeau's government stands to lose another historically Liberal riding after suffering defeat at the hands of the Conservatives in Toronto St. Paul's in June. And that group of dissenting staffers is also talking to the Liberal Party's Arab and Muslim donors.
We just think that this party now has a complete blind spot against the Palestinians.
Hussein Hamdani belongs to Network 100, a group of donors who've pulled their backing.
Maybe they'll think they can find other donors, but you can't just find 50 staff overnight.
The effect of this may be mostly symbolic. The Liberals have other volunteers who can campaign for them in Montreal. But the letter shows that alienation over the Gaza war hasn't just hurt the standing of the party with Arab and Muslim voters, but also with some of its own staffers. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
At least one person is dead and several others injured after a deadly typhoon, Shan, made landfall in Japan. In the central region, heavy rains triggered a landslide and some homes were reduced to rubble. First responders raced to save victims, including a family of 5 trapped in their house. Officials have issued the highest level warnings for the country's southern region, which is expected to be hardest hit. Flair Airlines is trying to lure in passengers by offering $1 base fares on some of its flights.
I think that they're trying to give some confidence to the marketplace that they are going to be around.
Why the sticker price doesn't tell the whole story. Plus, the opening ceremony's in the books. Now Canada's Paralympians are set to compete.
This is our moment to, show Canadians in the world what we have.
Why these games are different. And a rare snapshot in the midst of a storm.
It's kind of like a 1 in a million opportunity, I guess.
We're back in 2.
Three, 2, 1, mission.
SpaceX successfully launched 21 Starlink internet satellites into orbit this morning. However, when the rocket's first stage booster landed on a barge, it tipped over and burst into flames. SpaceX says it's reviewing the flight data and has canceled another launch planned for tonight in California. An ultra-discount airline is now offering base fares on some flights for a loonie. It's the latest promotion from Flair Airlines to attract flyers. But as Nisha Patel shows us, there are doubters among customers and industry watchers.
The new Flair Airlines offer of some base fares for just $1 is an attention grabber for potential customers.
I'd love to take advantage of it if I can.
Hey, make it to as many destinations as you can for $1. I'm good with it.
I'm all about the saving money.
But others are skeptical.
I'd have to assume there'd be a whole bunch of other charges or flights might get disrupted.
There is a catch. For now, the deal is on select flights back to Canada from sun destinations like Mexico, though that could change depending on the season. It's a way for Flair to fill seats on flights that have less demand.
Even if we put 4 people onto that flight who otherwise wouldn't have taken it, that's great. We're happy about that.
The true cost, though, is more than $1. Take a December flight from Cancun to Calgary. Taxes and airport fees add more than $80, plus extras like a checked bag, another $85. All in, that's about $167.
It's a gimmick. They're doing this to try to drive business to the site and to get people comfortable with flying on this airline.
That may be a big challenge for Flair. The low-cost carrier made headlines back in March when flight cancellations left passengers stranded for days. Flair is also reportedly trying to raise cash as it tries to manage its huge debt burden.
They're trying to give some confidence to the marketplace that they are going to be around.
With rivals Lynx, Swoop, and Canada Jetlines all out of the picture this year, industry watchers say Flair did have a profitable summer.
Do they have enough cash left over from the summer, basically to carry them over until next summer? And that's the question.
And the answer to that is still up in the air. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
The Paralympic Games have officially begun, and the athletes are ready to make a statement.
Paralympians are also here to achieve something far greater than personal glory.
Tickets are flying and expectations are high. The push to make Paris 2024 the start of a movement. Plus, tackling Canada's healthcare backlog.
Everyone's saying the same thing, like we have to do better.
The method that could help hospitals speed through surgeries. And is the West contributing to Russia's war effort?
So it is possible that Western parts end up in an Orlan drone.
It is possible.
The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. Welcome to Paris again. Para-athletes took center stage at the Place de la Concorde, kicking off the Paralympic Games with a vibrant opening ceremony. Team Canada is hoping to build off the Olympic success earlier this summer. As Quibino Duro tells us, these games are being called a turning point for accessible sport.
In a sea of 4,400 athletes, Team Canada stands out in its signature red. The Paralympic Games opening ceremony took over the Champs-Élysées, the most famous street in Paris.
This is our moment to, show Canadians in the world what we have and how, each one of us has a story about sort of being dealt a different hand than a lot of people in life.
Flag bearers Pat Anderson and Katarina Roxon promised to put on a show.
I think a lot of people are really looking forward to having these games in whatever sport they're in. Having such a crowd there, you're going to see amazing results. That's all I'm going to say.
Roxon's teammate Aurélie Rivard is no stranger to the podium. She's Canada's most decorated para swimmer.
If I think about the little girl that I used to be, I can't believe that the person I'm talking about right now is me. But it does feel like it comes with so much pride.
An even bigger incentive at these games. For the first time, Canadian Paralympic medal winners will be paid the same bonus money as Olympians. Anderson is hoping to lead his wheelchair basketball team back to the podium.
We are an underdog. There's no way around that fact. But that doesn't mean we're not going to compete. And doesn't mean we don't have a chance to knock off some of these teams and get in the medal rounds. We're going to leave it all out there.
With more than 2 million tickets sold so far, organizers say these games will be a turning point for the Paralympic movement.
Paralympians are also here to achieve something far greater than personal glory. They want equality and inclusion for themselves and for the world's 1.3 billion persons with disabilities.
Over the next 10 days, Paralympians hope to inspire the next generation of athletes to dream big. Kubino Duro, CBC News, Montreal.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. A new Canadian model to get more hip replacements done. What hyper-throughput surgeries could mean for patients.
We're able to help 14 people today that are all going to go home within the same day.
But first, Ukrainian hackers uncover Russia's efforts to evade international sanctions and source Western electronics for its weapons production.
In every Russian missile, there are critical components from Western countries.
Some of those components could include parts from Canadian companies. In an effort to blunt companies aiding Russia's war, the United States has issued hundreds of new sanctions. Among those targeted in the latest wave, Russian companies we reported on earlier this year. This spring, Ben Maku investigated how Canadian parts were being sourced by Russian arms dealers.
These Ukrainian soldiers aren't shooting at Russian soldiers. Their gunfire is trained towards the sky, where one of their greatest adversaries approaches, the watchful surveillance cameras of an Orlan 10 drone. These are Russia's eyes on the battlefield, one of their most vital weapons. And some of the electronics that put them up in the air don't come from Russia, but Ukraine's allies.
So I'm headed to an undisclosed location here in Ukraine where sources have agreed to walk me through exactly how they hacked a Russian arms maker that's trying to source Canadian technology for its weapons.
This is a Ukrainian hacker who is part of the Cyber Resistance, a group linked to secretive sections of the Ukrainian government.
This is an STC document.
CBC News is hiding his identity for threats against his life.
Big military companies, which works in Russia, are our top targets. So STC was on the top of our list. This is one of the biggest manufacturers of military equipment for Russia.
STC, or the Special Technology Center, is a St. Petersburg-based defense contractor that makes Orlan drones and supplies them to the Russian military. The Orlan is able to jam communications and help Russian crews spot and target Ukrainian troops. The Cyber Resistance hacked the email of an STC employee and gave the cache of data to CBC News. Then we reviewed it.
After analyzing it, we found out some invoices with the Western companies, suppliers, maybe even some intermediate companies who helped Russians to buy different electronics and equipment from different countries.
Among them, 2 from Canada. Montreal-based tech companies AimTech and Exfo. Both had their electronics appear on STC supplier lists of targeted foreign components. Nothing suggests their parts were knowingly provided to STC, but doing so would be a direct violation of international sanctions against Russia.
Today, I'm authorizing additional strong sanctions and new limitations on what can be exported to Russia.
This is how we as a government can really have a strong impact.
This hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure.
At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Ottawa sanctioned the Russian military-industrial complex, including STC, and issued harsh crackdowns on all exports of microelectronics. But Russia has been finding ways around them. Because drones are game changers for both sides in this very modern war.
So I'm at a secret Ukrainian drone training school, and even more than artillery shells or bullets, in this war, drones are king.
Before, military had to do the reconnaissance. It was always going by your feet, and it was very, very dangerous. Right now, we can use the drone, and you save lives by that.
This is a Ukrainian drone operator, call sign Vitol, who was on the front line, but now he's a trainer.
Right now, Russia is taking over the drones. The beginning of the war, of course, we were ahead of them, but they started to do it very massively, and they put a lot of money in it. They have more quantity of the drones that they are using.
To feed that demand, STC appears to be sourcing Western electronics that Russia can't make enough of. Ukraine not only recovers Orlans in the battlefield, but they then forensically take them apart and find Western electronics inside of them.
In every Russian missile, there are critical components from Western countries, dozens of components in every missile, and it's true. It's fact.
They still receive the Western technologies to produce their equipment, including the drones that we're discussing right now.
This Ukrainian military commander has direct knowledge of the hack. He goes by Serpin, and CBC News is hiding his identity because Russia seeks out officers like him to assassinate.
The EU, US, Japan, and other companies that belong to the countries which impose a different kind of sanctions against Russia. But as we can see that it's not so effective as it's described, for example, for the majority of the population or the majority of the world.
And experts agree.
Because there is actually no Russian weapon without Western technologies.
Olena Bilasova is a senior research analyst at the Kyiv School of Economics who tracks Western components in Russian weapons. Her team says Russia and companies like STC sourced $22 billion worth of Western components for their weapons in 2023 alone, tracking 2,800 parts and counting. Key to Russia scoring these electronics, front companies and middlemen.
As far as we know, it can be sometimes up to 5 different intermediaries to get those components.
And of those, she says a majority percentage come from Chinese distributors. To get answers from the other side, we head to Ottawa. This is the Russian embassy.
Ben Maku, have a seat right here.
This is Russian ambassador to Canada, Oleg Stepanov.
We know that Canadian parts, and not just microelectronics, are ending up in Russian weapons, things like missiles and drones. How do you account for that?
It's a globalized world, right?
We know there's a global shortage in microchips, but those types of microchips also go inside of things like Kinzhals and Orlan drones, stuff that your country is using and needs for its war efforts in Ukraine.
The most advanced parts of Russian defense sector production have always used only Russian components. And I will never believe that in a product like Kinzhal, any hypersonic weapon or nuclear capabilities, there is a outsourced components.
How about an Orlan?
It's a very simple part of technology.
So it is possible that Western parts end up in an Orlan drone?
It is possible, but not necessarily. I would doubt that my country is going to use or try to find sources for that production in the West. I believe in our defense production we are quite self-sufficient.
Sanctions in recent weeks have definitely expanded. Are you saying they're not hurting you?
No, not really.
Both Exfo and AimTech declined our requests for interviews, but sent statements. Exfo says that it does not sell its solutions into Russia, but has no visibility to any potential alternate means of supply via other entities or countries. AimTech says its products are neither designed nor intended for military or aerospace applications. STC did not respond to a request for comment from CBC News.
What can governments do here in the West and in Canada to improve this and stop this problem from happening?
It is very important to continue blocking that intermediaries, and we exactly know who are them.
To her, responsibility also rests on companies like Exfo and AimTech to track who's distributing their goods.
They should make their companies more responsible for not only conscious supplies, but also unconscious supplies. This will force corporates to increase their compliance.
These electronics might seem harmless, but they're not.
Do some of those Russian weapons with Western technologies, do they kill civilians?
Of course, obviously.
What message do you have for Canadians that will say, why is it important that parts from Canada are being targeted for use in Russian weapons and drones?
And my message is that if you close your eyes on the problem of the Ukraine right now, so it could be too late if you open your eyes and see the chaos, you see the destruction of your life much closer to your country, and maybe someday it will come to your country directly to your home.
So, Ben, it seems like despite sanctions, it's only getting worse.
Yeah, it's become an even bigger issue since our reporting. The deadly missile that struck a Kyiv hospital in July was found to have several Western components. This month, the U.S. even sent officials to Turkey to warn them they could face sanctions if they didn't start cracking down on some of their companies supplying microelectronics to Russia.
So the U.S. is ramping up sanctions. It's laid charges in other cases against Canadians. What is Canada doing?
So far, Canada hasn't followed the U.S. in this latest round of sanctions, and despite this report and other evidence, Canadians are helping supply Russia with electronics. The RCMP hasn't laid a single criminal charge and says it can't confirm any investigations.
Ben Maku reporting tonight from New York City. A Toronto hospital has found a way to fly through certain procedures.
When I woke up in the recovery and they told me what time it was, I was amazed.
The simple changes that can get more Canadians the surgeries they need. One Ontario hospital's push to cut hip replacement wait time.
If you listen to Canadians, be it physicians or patients over the last several years, everyone's saying the same thing. Like, we have to do better. We have to change what we're doing.
Why a surgical technique, hyper throughput, could be a game changer for patients. This past winter, Christine Burak got an inside look at how it works and why there are calls for more investment in this type of innovation.
Change is not easy, especially in medicine. However,
if you listen to Canadians, be it physicians or patients over the last several years, everyone's saying the same thing. Like, we have to do better. We have to change what we're doing.
On this morning, a team at Humber River Hospital in Toronto wants to show change is possible. It can be done safely, and more Canadians can get surgeries they need.
We've done 2 surgeries so far. We start about 10 to 8. Every 30 to 35 minutes, we're sort of able to flip rooms.
Dr. Sebastian Rodriguez is an orthopedic surgeon specializing in hips and knees. His goal is to fix 14 hips in 8 hours.
Okay, see you in a bit. Breathe now.
On a typical day, one of these operating rooms sees between 4 and 5 patients, with one surgeon operating on all of them. What they're trying here today is 14 surgeries, with one surgeon moving between 2 rooms. The model is called hyper-throughput surgeries. They've done this only once before and managed 12 surgeries. One of the patients today is Richard White. Once an avid hiker and skier, White now struggles to put his own shoes on. For most hip replacements, Dr. Rodriguez makes an incision over the hip, removes any diseased or damaged bone and cartilage, then implants a replacement cup and hip socket. And that's the sound of a metal stem being inserted into the top of the thigh bone, which is topped with a replacement ball. How are you feeling?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah, surprisingly good.
The team built White a new artificial joint in about 35 minutes.
That was really fast. When I woke up in the recovery and they told me what time it was, I was amazed. I thought it would definitely be a lot longer.
So how does all that happen so quickly without compromising safety?
We did so much planning.
Mylene Vidal is a highly trained operating room nurse.
The first thing that we actually did was like instrumentations. We actually just built a tray according to what they need for the case.
A tray holds surgical tools, usually more than what's needed. Each one takes time to unwrap and prep. Smaller custom trays help cut setup times here from 30 minutes per surgery down to about 11.
I'm about to go because I'm prepared for the next one.
That's one time-saving change.
The efficient direct anterior approach.
Humber's surgical team learned other lessons from a public hospital in Belgium and a for-profit center in the U.S. By mid-afternoon, they're closing in on their goal.
We're on number 9, I believe.
To get there, they're streamlining patients to seamlessly move in and out of operating rooms. Tech-wise, the surgeon's using a measuring tool that guides placement of the implant in real time. And well-timed housekeeping teams move in as soon as each procedure is done. Just some of the small but innovative changes in the entire process.
The cumulative effect of all those minutes then allows us to add additional procedures in the day.
John V. Solanke is a nurse turned VP of Clinical Services at Humber River. As things stand, Ontario only pays hospitals to do a specific number of surgeries per year. Beyond their cap, Humber relies on fundraising dollars to do more surgeries.
We should be rewarding institutions that can actually optimize and innovate. We keep funding things like private clinics, and we keep sort of diverting the healthcare dollar.
She says the hyper-throughput model in hospitals is the type of innovation provinces should be investing in.
One of our philosophies at Humber has been, if it can be done in a private clinic, why can't it be done here?
Around 4 p.m., Dr. Rodriguez and his team wrap up their 14th patient.
It can be tiresome. It can seem a bit chaotic, but it's all like an organized dance.
So yeah, I mean, I feel good because, we're able to help 14 people today that are all going to go home within the same day.
They've been absolutely amazing.
Like White, patients all went home within hours of their life-changing surgery.
They say I'll be up and walking within a few days.
While some argue hyper-throughput models are tough to replicate, others insist it's time for a cultural shift in hospitals, one that will open new doors to new possibilities.
Since Christine's story aired last December, Humber River Hospital has expanded the pilot program to several days each month. 3 surgeons now provide hip and knee replacement surgeries for hundreds of patients. The project has been nominated for a Provincial Health Innovation Award. Next, a Major League Baseball photographer captures a striking image.
I've never seen anything like that, and I've shot baseball games here for 14 or 15 years.
The rare weather snapshot in our moment. You're looking at a picture taken by a photographer for the Minnesota Twins during a storm on Monday. Lightning striking over a rainbow, all amid colorful skies. That trio of events at the same time is very rare. And tonight, the moment it was captured on camera is our moment.
It started just pouring sheets of rain. I went up on one of our balconies in left field to kind of just watch the storm from afar. Maybe not the safest thing. All of a sudden the sky turned like bright yellow for a minute, and then it kept getting a little darker and eventually turned into a nice shade of red, and I saw a rainbow going up over the skyline. It was surreal to watch in real time. I've never seen anything like that, and I've shot baseball games here for 14 or 15 years. I didn't really realize how cool and popular it would be, and probably until that night after our social media team posted it, and it kind of blew up from there. I just thought I was taking a simple photo, just trying to showcase something that our team could promote, the ballpark, and all of a sudden the rainbow and then the lightning and everything kind of just came together to make a really cool frame. So it was kind of like a 1 in a million opportunity, I guess. Just the combination of the timing and everything was pretty surreal, and it was cool to be able to capture that moment. And hopefully that image will now live on forever.
So what that 1 in a million takes is a thunderstorm, obviously, sunlight streaming in from somewhere, and just the right angle of refraction and reflection to get that rainbow. Oh yeah, and a diligent photographer. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the Nationals YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannamansing in Vancouver. See you tomorrow night.